Welcome to a new episode of Around the Big Ten. I'm your host, Lucy Rohden. Last week, I showed you what to expect from the last place Illini and also the moves they have made this offseason. Today, I'm going to take a closer look at the team that finished last in the East Division, the Maryland Terrapins. In DJ Durkin's second year as head coach, Maryland finished 4-8 overall and 2-7 in the Big Ten. But if you remember at the beginning of the season, Maryland looked really promising. The Terps started off 3-1, kicking off the year with a road win at Texas and with their only loss coming to the eventual national champions UCF. But the Terps will only go on to win one more game that entire season thanks to a weak defense and injuries. On the offensive side of the ball, Maryland's issues really began with injuries at the quarterback position. In the season opener, Maryland's top quarterback Tyrell Pegram went down with a season-ending knee injury, and it didn't take long for their backup Kasim Hill to also see his season end with a knee injury in just their third game. The role was then filled by Max Bortenschlager until he went down in their fifth game of the season. So you see, it's really hard for an offense to be successful and maintain consistency when you play 5 different quarterbacks throughout the season. But in other news for the Terps offense, Maryland lost their offensive coordinator Walt Bell, who left to take a position at Florida State. The Terps brought in Matt Canada from LSU to fill that role. Maryland will also be promoting their wide receivers coach Chris Beatty to the co-offensive coordinator position. But you can't talk Maryland football without mentioning Big Ten wide receiver of the year DJ Moore. Moore had over 1,000 yards this season and set the single-season record for receptions at Maryland with 80. But Moore announced via Twitter that he would forego his senior season at Maryland to enter the NFL draft, and he's leaving a huge role at that position for the Terps. However, Maryland signed several highly ranked wide receivers in the 2018 recruitment process, so there are players coming into Durkin's system that with time will have capability to fill that role that Moore is leaving. But looking at the defensive side of the ball for Maryland, they've had their fair share of issues this season. The defense ranked dead last in the Big Ten in scoring, giving up an average of 37.1 points per game, and ranked 13th in the conference in total defense, giving up an average of over 400 yards per game. Maryland allowed 62 points to Ohio State and 66 points to Penn State this season. This defense really just lacked the talent to keep up with the playmakers and explosive offenses seen in the Big Ten East, and it showed all season. But looking ahead to 2018, Maryland will open their season at home in a Power 5 matchup with Texas. They'll then travel to Bowling Green and finish out the non-conference at home with Temple. In the Big Ten East, Maryland will face Minnesota and Illinois at home and Iowa on the road. 2 of Maryland's 3 toughest games will be versus Michigan State and Ohio State, and they'll both be played in College Park. Maryland will close out 2018 in Happy Valley. DJ Durkin will enter his 2018 in his 3rd year as head coach of the Terps, and he's nearing the back end of that learning curve. So I really expect Maryland to improve this season as he's starting to bring in players he's recruited, and now he's had a sufficient amount of time to really solidify his system in College Park. I also believe the Terps will improve just because of how unlucky they were injury-wise this season. So if they can avoid another freak scenario like the one they had this year at the quarterback position, then I think that things are looking up for the Terps. But they're not anywhere close to being competitive in the Big Ten East, and it'll take a lot more than luck to get them there. In order for Maryland to have a shot at competing with Sparty or Penn State or Ohio State or even Michigan, it starts on the recruiting trail, and Maryland will need to take advantage of the recruiting ground they have being in the D.C. area. But that's all I have for you today on Maryland football. Tune in next week where I'll take a closer look at the Indiana Hoosiers. And be sure to watch DITV every morning live at 8:30. Once again, I'm Lucy Rohden, and thanks so much for watching.